a legend. At least that's what's being reported as we start the show this morning. Some breaking news as LSU great. She has a statue out in front of the PMAC. Simone Augustus is going to be joining Kim Mulkey's staff as an assistant coach. What a big-time addition by Kim Mulkey. Congrats to Simone Augustus. It's a massive pickup for the Lady Tigers. We'll talk about that a little bit. Carter Bryant joins us at 10:30. We are 10:35, I should say. We are a little bit live, a little bit earlier than normal. You know, during May, last week of T-ball. Got to find some earlier times to go because we're not going to be able to be live in our normal times. It doesn't stop, though, however. Really and truthfully, all the stuff that we got to get into, Dorian Moore decommits. Blake, you committed on your show. I got tagged in it so much. Oh, Blake, did you see this? No, I didn't see it. No, I did not see that Dorian Moore decommitted. Nope, didn't see it. Didn't talk about it. Didn't put it on our message board. Didn't mention it, ever. Didn't say that LSU was in a battle here. Never mentioned it. Sarcasm. We will talk about Decommits Moore decommitment. What do I know? What do I hear? What do I think? We'll discuss that here this morning as well. Also, LSU baseball sweeps Ole Miss. Are they in now that they got to that 13-win mark? Do they need to win on Tuesday to be able to get into a regional? We'll discuss that. As I mentioned, Carter Bryant joins us in about 30 minutes to discuss all of this. We're always looking forward to Carter joining us on Mondays. And then at the end, we'll ask or get your questions. Hashtag Ask Blake, thoughts, questions, concerns. You can bring them inside of the Rudy Crew chat. Chris Vignair says, go Tigers. I love his profile picture here on Facebook. He's got an L, an S, and then it's a shoe. Looks like a Chuck Taylor, but LSU. Good to have you in here with us this morning, Chris. Leandra Lewis says that's awesome. What is awesome? That we're live at 10 a.m. Yeah, a lot of people have asked us to go live earlier. We're going to stay at the regular time. Maybe T-ball. Maybe T-ball is what she's discussing. But, yeah. Craig Ranger says, good morning. My man, the cook is in the house. My man be cooking some mean stuff. If you posting it online, my man Craig's in the building. He says, go Tigers. Good to have you in here with us this morning, Craig. Adrian Bailey says the brunch edition of AYS, U-High has a 3-star receiver that can replace Moore. I don't know about that. Look, just because Dakorien Moore decommits does not mean he's not the best wide receiver in the country. Doesn't mean that. I'll lead off with it before LSU because I know that there's a lot of pressing stuff about it and everybody wants to talk about it. Obviously, he committed here on AYS. The connection that we have with the young man and his family. I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you what I think Oregon's doing. There's a lot of thoughts about Texas. I might want to pump the brakes. I think it does get down to Texas and Oregon, but don't be too surprised if the Oregon Ducks make a pretty big push here for Dakorien Moore. Bilbo Baggins says, with a coffee emoji, says, good morning. Good morning to you, sir, as well. I have my Italian cup here. It says, ciao. Something they say a lot in Italy, apparently. But I would know that, you know. Nothing like a good brew of coffee in the morning. Devin Johnson with a $199 super chat says D's Barbecue in his profile pic. Where is D's Barbecue? Devin, you know I'm always looking for good places to eat. He says, I'm excited for the Tiger Stadium upgrades. Any updates? Thank you for the super chat. I greatly appreciate that. I don't have any updates, no. I mean, when we went there in the spring, when we would go to spring football practice, they were making, they were doing stuff. I really don't. It's a good question. I don't know. I think aren't they doing the LED stuff, the LED lights, like so many other teams have been doing. Other than that, I do not know. Stadium upgrades, we'll talk about them. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but they were working. I don't know exactly what all they were doing, but they were working. That is for sure. Bilbo Baggins says the wide receiver room is already packed. The class will be fine. The team will be fine. I do agree with that, but we'll talk about it as well. Clay Phillips says, what's up, Blake? SEC tournament tomorrow. Lots to play for. That is very true. Very, very, very true. Paul Sub Martin says, for Tuesday, I need us to win. For Tuesday, I need us to win. And Vandy to beat Florida to feel better. South Carolina and Alabama beat each other up also helps. Yeah, I also just feel like, do you need a win to feel better? Yes. Do I still think that you're in? And look, I'm going to do a Rufino's rants this morning too. I see a lot of fans like shitting on Jay Johnson. Guys, Jay came after the Sunday or Saturday game. Jay said, look, I think we're one of the best 20 teams in America. And I see these Rudy Poo, ridiculous fans saying, he doesn't believe that. He's lying. Okay, do you know about every other baseball team in the country? Pac-12 is not that good. I don't know what to think about the Big 12 or the ACC. I mean, of the 8 true host national sites, 6 of them are probably going to be for the SEC. By the way, outside of Kentucky, you played the other 5. I think 3 of them on the road: Arkansas, Tennessee, and Texas A&M was at home. But I mean, guys, you arguably played 3 of the top 5 teams in the country, and if you win, if you beat Georgia, you're going to play Kentucky in a game. So, do you need a win against Georgia? Yes. Does Gage Jump go on Tuesday? I mean, can he go on 4 days rest? I don't know, but it's something that we for sure will discuss. Bilbo says North End Zone video board is still barren. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. You know, I really don't. I really don't. Devin says I cater and it's located at my house. Oh, okay. Where are you what city are you located out of? I'm always looking for good food. I am on the carnivore, by the way. Have lost 33 pounds in the last 70 days doing this. No alcohol, straight carnivore stuff. I had 1 cheat meal. I had for my son's birthday, I had 2 scoops of chocolate ice cream. And boy, did I feel it after. Golly, did I feel it after. Chris Vignair says Jay has lost a crap load of talent. It's taken this team a while to gel. It took a while to figure out pitching. Hopefully, we get a spot defending champs. Yeah, will you keep the defending champs out? That is the ultimate question. You need to win Tuesday. I'm not saying you don't, but I still think that you're in. Personally, I still think that you're in. So we'll see. All right, let's get rolling. We got lots to discuss. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook. Share to all those LSU groups. Share to your own social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag. Our good friend, Tyler Alexander, who, by the way, the largest month from a realtor inside the state of Louisiana last month for our good friend Tyler Alexander. You know what that means, man. If you want your home sold, if you're looking to buy a home, you need to call Tyler. I'm not joking. Like, it's number 1, it's science. But number 2, they're posting about it. They're showing it. Him and the Darren James team are absolutely fantastic. If you want your home sold, you need to go to him. Also, our good friends over at J&J Exterminating. By the way, guys, I keep telling you this. You need to go over to Melon and get your Melon hat. Melon.com/AYS. Use that promo code AYS to get 30% off. Guys, I tell you this all the time. They are, and they have, and they produce the best fitting hat in the market right now. With their the way that they build a hat, guys, it's sweat resistant. It is stink resistant. Guys, I have been wearing these hats ever since they came on. Absolutely fantastic. Go over to Melon. Now, you only got like 10 more days before that promo code runs out. Go over to melon.com/AYS. Get your hat today. And then that way that they know that Blake sends you on by. All right. Let's get to it. We got lots to discuss. Dakorien Moore, decommits. We'll talk about that. LSU Sweeps Ole Miss. And then Carter Bryant joins us in just a minute. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
We're back. All right. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. So I got to say this before we talk about Dorian Moore. I told you my man's selling over $2 million worth of homes in the last month. He's the number one real estate agent in the state right now. Dude is destroying it. But he says, Tyler Alexander says, morning shows for the win. Good ad. You in here, my man. Telling you, man, dude's slanging houses. Like, I probably can't say that. They'd probably go against FTC regulations. He's slinging them houses. But, you know what I was probably going to say. All right, let's get to it. Guys, over the last week, Decommits Moore, the LSU wide receiver commit, decommitted. And I probably should start off with this. When Dorian Moore decommitted, it was funny because, yes, he did commit on our show, and a lot of people were tagging us in it. Blake, did you see this? No, I had no idea that it happened. Blake, what do you think about it? Well, you should have probably been on the message board over the last month. I kind of gave you as many hints as I could. Guys, I do think that there are a lot of things that are working into this one, and do I think the young man is fantastic, a really good player? Yes. I know that a lot of his words came back on him. I'm 100% locked in. You can't take my dream away, and that's fine. And I understand that a lot of people were like, LSU fans were pretty upset by it, and you should be. Here's the thing, okay? I would not take back the experience and going to Dallas after you lost Colin Simmons from Duncanville, going and get the kid committed. It's not my job to keep the kid committed. It's not my job to keep him here. Now, what I will say is I would never take away what we did, how we did it, not telling anybody, going up there, doing what we needed to do, my brother and myself, and going to Dallas and him being committed. It doesn't bother me. It's not my job. But here's the thing, and I would really caution by what you understand about what I'm about to say versus what you hear. Over the last week, a lot of people have been saying, well, Texas is the team to beat. And maybe they will be. Ultimately, Oregon has been the team that's made the biggest push here. I have heard a lot of rumors and seen a lot of stuff from people saying that Brian Kelly's comments was a big factor here in reference to BK saying, oh, well, we're not in the market of buying players. That had absolutely nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, to do with anything on Dakorien Moore decommitting. Truth is, other teams put the pressure on and did this. Here's what I would tell anybody that's in Dakorien Moore's situation when it comes to LSU and receiver. They are the number one team over the last 20 years, or university over the last 20 years. They have put the most wide receivers at that position in the league than anybody. Ohio State can't say that. Alabama can't say that. Texas and Oregon for sure can't say that. But guys, in the new age of college football, when NIL and the transfer portal is the way that it is, you might need to expect more of these things to happen more frequently. I never worry about this program when it comes to receiver. That does not mean that I don't think Dakorien Moore isn't the best wide receiver in the country. I think he's one of the best, if not the best. But this place, this state, is known, at least over the last 2 decades, of producing not only wide receivers, but a lot of positions, but specifically at wide receiver, producing NFL talents like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham, and now you have Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, who are both first-round picks. That room is going to be 1,000% fine. Do I think other teams made bigger pushes than you did? Yeah, I do. Do I still think that Dakorien still has LSU very high on his list? Yes, I do. And I'm not really even thinking about that in the conversations that I've had over the last couple of days. Do I think that there are people in his camp that are advising him to look elsewhere? Yes, I do. And I think that that ultimately won out. What I'd also say is that Oregon does have a very good connection with the school of Duncanville now. And truth be told, you can't beat what Oregon has done. You can't beat that his family, we went there, and I'll just share this story with you. When we went there was a lot of people that had on UT gear because they're from Texas. That's like going to Louisiana and say there's a lot of people that wear LSU stuff in Louisiana. Well, no shit. There's going to be a lot. I do think that ultimately won out on him. But the truth is, and if anybody wants to hear this, and they probably should, there is no other place that can produce you better than LSU, specifically not Texas or Oregon. They can tell you that they are, and the NIL packages can be what they are. It's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. It won't. Because this place is going to continue to produce what it's producing. You can't think about immediate success versus long-term success. I think the kid can go wherever he wants and be a superstar. I really do believe that. That's why on a Thursday night, I packed up everything that's in this studio when it comes to shooting the show. Me and my brother headed out to Dallas to do this and didn't tell anybody. Now, other people on other platforms leaked it because they didn't get it, and that's on them, and they got to live with that. Even though they were sharing to other programs and schools and calling people and calling family members when we were doing the commitment saying, can you go ahead and start? I got other things I need to do. Yeah, I don't forget about those kinds of things. What I do know is this. You're going to be fine. You're going to be more than fine. I think Francis is a really good wide receiver. I think you're going to get more wide receivers. And I think that Cortez Hankton, more than anybody, has shown and needs to have I don't want to say grace because it sounds like you lose something so much, but look at what he's done. Here's another thing about LSU and Cortez Hankton. You know what's interesting about this? Cortez Hankton had 5 wide receivers drafted in the top 60 picks. Did Oregon's wide receiver coach have that? No. Well, the Texas wide receiver coach will say, well, I had 2, but yeah, A.D. Mitchell was at Georgia until Cortez Hankton left. 5 that he recruited or coached. I can honestly make the argument that he might be the best wide receivers coach in the country right now, considering what and the way that guys are developing, the way that guys are taking the next step. It is what it is. I don't hate it. It doesn't bother me, really. I mean, people did ask me, Blake, did it bother you that he decommitted? No, it doesn't. It's not my job to keep him committed. And there are other programs that are pushing him in a different direction. Good on him. Good on his family. Great people. Doesn't bother me. But I will warn you, you're leaving a place that's produced more than anything. Okay. Well, I guess, yeah, I'll probably say that, guys. Look, the only other thing that I would mention, I can't emphasize this enough. BK's comments about not buying players didn't have shit to do with it. That can be the excuse that gets run, and it's being run in a lot of places. Because what happens when during this whole process, people are sending screenshots to me, Blake, is this true? No, it's not true. It's not true. They can say that. It is what it is. And look, I'm not saying money's not involved in any of this situation because, guys, in today's era and today's society, it is. And look, I'm going to tell you the truth that you don't want to hear. Price tags aren't going to go lower. Price tags aren't getting lower. And I'm not saying that's why Dorian Moore decommitted at all. But I've seen a lot of people saying that's what that it was about. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But one thing I know for an outright fact had nothing to do with BK. See, what's interesting is people in this media and or in our media lately are trying to put everything on him. Do I think the defensive tackle thing should be on him? Sure. Put it on him. I can't argue you in that. What I will not allow, though, is for you to come in here and make up fabrications because the school in Texas is giving you those fabrications or people in Texas are giving you those fabrications. Ask Oregon what's up. See, what happens is everybody wants to put things on BK. Ain't got nothing to do with him. Now, could they have maybe done a better job? Maybe. But at some point, you got to walk away and say, look, you're trying to find excuses to not want to be here. And I think Dorian Moore's camp won out. They won the day on what they wanted to do. Still think he's one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in this class. I will tell you, though, I'm not worried about it at this place. And here's the selling point. Again, I've given you all the selling points. Nobody in the country can say that they have more wide receivers drafted since 2000. No wide receivers coach can say that they had 5 guys that they recruited or coached that got drafted in the top 60 picks than Cortez Hankton. By the way, LSU was the number 1 offense in the country last year when people had no idea, even though I said it on the show during the entire offseason, that they would be that, and they continue to develop and have massive talent. Oh, by the way, Bryce Underwood's still coming. Do what you need to do. All right. Don't let people lie to you, though. Start being a little bit more realistic with yourself. It's honestly a joke when I see some of this stuff. Some of these guys are guessing. And it's honestly a joke. All right. Let's get to some LSU baseball. Y'all want to get to some LSU baseball? I see your comments in here, so I'll bring it. I'll get to this one. Bilbo says we're absolutely not paying over 7 figures for Demontic Williams, who had stats comparable to Jacoby and Guillory. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, okay, if you think price tags are coming down, I talked about this last week, and I'll reemphasize it now. Because there are people at On3 like Chad Simmons reporting that guys like Jakeem Stewart that has never played it down in college that are not demanding but are being offered. See, what we look at, what is Jakeem Stewart supposed to do? Is Jakeem Stewart supposed to say, hey, man, I'm being offered this. So, I mean, what do you want me to do? The schools are the ones, the people are the ones offering it. Is he supposed to shy away from it? Guys, I don't care what you think or what your opinion is. Here is the reality. And Bilbo knows this isn't to him. But here is the reality. That's what other schools are doing. Well, Blake, the top schools in the country aren't doing that. Are you 1,000% sure? Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, those schools aren't moving anywhere. What do you think is happening behind the scenes? All right. We'll get to some LSU baseball. All right. He says this. A&M is a master class in blowing a budget. They went after high school players, man, where people on their roster was not getting paid. Kids that had already been there were not getting paid. They paid freshmen, didn't pay the other part of their roster. It's a completely different scenario. And here's another thing you could do. Here's something that nobody wants to mention. Well, what do you do with Will Campbell and Harold Perkins? Pay them more. Pay them more. Match. But everyone wants to talk about Demonic Williams. They don't want to talk about everybody else that was missed. I'm not going down that rabbit hole again. I'm not. All right, for sure. LSU baseball. Here we go. LSU baseball comes off a sweep of Ole Miss this weekend. Now, I got to be honest, I did not see it coming. Just based off of the team that had been playing all year and we had seen all year, I just did not think that they could do it. But on Friday night when we did the post game, and what continued through the entire weekend was this. I don't care what the final scores were. Like literally, I don't. I do not care. You know what I felt all 3 days when you swept Ole Miss? A sense of urgency. Now, the three guys that had big weekends for you, Gage Jump, fantastic. Going through 6 innings. Could he have gone longer? I don't know. You know, you had a little rain delay on Thursday. Luke Holman, absolutely fantastic as well. Tommy Tanks, fantastic. And you know what? Tommy Tanks, that is probably arguably the best way to send him out. You think it matters to him? The sense of urgency this weekend is what got you and gave you the ability to sweep. Now, the question becomes, you needed to do what you needed to do. You had to sweep them to get to 13 to give yourself more of a fighting chance. And you did that. Now you go to the Hoover Met. Now you go into the SEC tournament. Do I think you 1,000% need to win tomorrow to get into a regional? No, I actually do not. Do I think it would benefit you greatly? Yes, I do. And Georgia's a really good team. A very good team. You're facing a guy in Wes Johnson who you know very well. But guys like Charlie Condon, guys, they are ridiculous at the plate. Now, I don't know what Jay's thought process is or what his mindset is. Does he throw Gage Jump tomorrow? Does he throw Luke Coleman on Wednesday? But you got to kind of fight to win this thing now. Now, you could get 2 or 3 wins in here and probably feel very good about getting in, but that would mean that you need to throw Gage Jump and Luke Coleman at some point during the week. Can Gage Jump give you, and what will the performance look like on 4 days rest? I don't know what Jay's going to do. I don't know the game plan. What I would tell you is if you win tomorrow and find a way, somehow, some way, to beat Kentucky tomorrow on Wednesday, you 1,000% are in. Not even a question. I do, for what it's worth, think that you're in anyway. And here's the thing that's very interesting to me. I saw a lot of fans, okay? I saw a lot of fans say, because Jay Johnson had comments on Saturday that he thought that they were one of the best or top 20 teams in the country. And people were like, he doesn't truly believe that. No, he does believe that. And you know what the truth is? They probably are. The SEC this year was loaded. But I hate when parts of this fan base, loathe when parts of this fan base always shit on coaches. Like, bro, your knack is up. Your thing is up. I do think you're one of the best 20 teams. The SEC this year is better than maybe, and arguably it's been the last 2 years. You know, LSU was great last year, but as a conference, you're better this year than you were last year. Do you need to win? Yes. The three performances that you got from the three biggest guys in Jump, Holman, and Tommy Tanks were phenomenal. And you know what, man? This is going to be the last time unless you're not going to host a regional. Not at all. But the bottom line becomes, for a guy like Tommy Tanks, man, that is a hell of a way to send him out. And I'm glad he got out on that last at bat because it gave him a chance and for everybody to give him a standing ovation. Kid has been phenomenal here. And when it was on the line and you needed him to perform, he did. He did. Can this team get hot? And God forbid if they do, guys, once you get in the postseason, there's no telling what can happen. But tomorrow is going to be a very, very big day. All right. Anthony says, Blake, do you think that Arkansas throws Hagen Smith? That's who we face if we win. I thought we faced Kentucky. Am I wrong in thinking that we face Kentucky tomorrow? Yeah, we would face Kentucky tomorrow, would we not? Yeah, we would face Kentucky. The winner of Alabama and South Carolina faces Arkansas. I don't know what they do. Bilbo says, to be honest, I think Ole Miss threw so they could face Mississippi State instead of Georgia. Bilbo, I don't agree with that because they got to get to 13 wins. They have to get to 13 wins to get even a remote chance of getting in the tournament. Why would you lose only to play one game against Mississippi State? Because then they got A&M after that. I don't know. Paul Sub says we wouldn't face Arkansas until Thursday. Yeah. Speaking of Arkansas, there's a guy that, has some deep Arkansas ties that's coming up next. Let's get to him. Let's go to our good man, Carter the Power Bryant. Let's get to a quick break. He joins us next. We'll talk a lot of baseball after he leaves too, but stay with us. Carter Bryant joins us. Stay with us. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J exterminating. Yeah.
Carter the Power Bryant. Good morning, good sir. Not good evening as you normally join us. How are you?
Good, man. Speaking of baseball, so one of my AAU teammates, Blake, took over a college baseball program, and in year 3 of the program, he's been in the World Series now twice. Twice. It's like a smaller, like
Where does he
JUCO
coach?
kind of. His name's Cannon Lester. I wanted to shout him out. He was a old. Actually, we never played AAU baseball together. We're actually basketball teammates, but a lot of my AAU baseball teammates played with him. So really excited about that because I was hearing you talking about Wes Johnson. Um, a lot of times, a lot of the best coaches are all on the same staffs, and he goes to Georgia, and they're good now. And he
Was
with
it Arkansas when they made that deep run?
with Dave Van Horn. He was actually the neighbor of some of my really close friends in Fayetteville. And then he coached in the major leagues. And look, you got these two programs going at it. And I talked to you on the phone yesterday. You're like, man, it is not a lock for LSU baseball to get.
They would really need chalk to win out. I mean, if they win tomorrow, they're in. I still think that they're in. Okay, but is it a lot? No, it's not.
So yeah, I'm just hoping for the best. Listening to your show and your post games. I'll be listening Wednesday when you go live. Hopefully after the game. You're going live after the game on Wednesday?
Well, tomorrow, no, I am not. But Wednesday, I probably would. Yes, because I mean, look, man, it's summertime.
So the game is tomorrow, not Wednesday.
Yeah, the first game is tomorrow at 9:30.
Oh, I thought it was Wednesday. Wow.
Yeah, tomorrow at 9:30. I can't go live tomorrow after the game. But we'll recap it, right? But Wednesday I might be able to. But you know what is well, I'll get to that in just a minute. Do I think LSU baseball is in? Yes, I do. But nobody's going to agree with me. I think what they did this weekend probably would solidify. Now, do they need to win tomorrow to feel a lot better about themselves? Yes, they do. The truth is, do they probably need to go 2-2 in the SEC tournament? Probably.
They're not leaving the LSU brand out of the tournament. They are not.
I don't think they leave the defending national champions out with 13 SEC wins.
Exactly. You
right.
Got to put them in. I'm being elitist about my team right now. I'm going full Lakers about my team.
You know, LSU baseball as an example. Okay. LSU baseball as an example. Okay, and baseball in general is what college football is kind of going to, right? Like if you win your conference, you're in. Things aren't created equally. Like playing baseball in the SEC is not like playing baseball in the Big 12 or the Pac-12 or anything like that. So you want equality, but okay, you about to find out what equality really looks like, buddy.
No, that's crazy. But Blake, it is good to be with you, and yeah, man, life's great.
Yeah, going to be a very fun week. Massive news dropped at 10 a.m. this morning. Simone Augustus going to be an assistant coach for LSU women's basketball. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, she has a statue outside the building. I mean, I think that's great. We all have our own Simone Augustus story. If you're
what is your best Simone Augustus story?
Well, my grandmother got a huge NAACP award the same night that Simone Augustus, as a high schooler, got a similar award. And I was younger. My grandmother has since been deceased for a while now, but yeah, that was super cool. Like she gave like a really good speech for a high school. I remember it vividly. And yeah, it was awesome. And it's no surprise that she's just an awesome human, and a lot of people are really excited. And it's going to be good for recruiting and good for LSU. Did
your grandma pass down the generation of lemony twang? Is that where it all started with your grandmother?
No, it didn't. That's my mom. Lemony twang is on my mom's side, but on my dad's side, she could cook though, like pretty much every grandma in Baton Rouge. But yeah, I'm super excited about Simone Augustus and super excited about what Kim's gonna do post -8. I'm super pumped up to see the offense be a little bit more guard oriented. next year, and hopefully, Del Rosario and a couple of the other post players get better and then make another run to the Final Four.
I'm not saying that there's no coaches on that staff that Kim can lean on for X's and O's. Nor does Kim really need to lean on anybody from an X's and O's standpoint. However, it's different coming from someone like Simone Augustus with everything that she's done in her career at that position that Kim can lean on. You talked about recruiting. Yes, that's a big deal. But, bro, that's like having Drew Brees telling you what he thinks you should do versus these coverages, right? Like Drew Brees telling a quarterback what he should do. Like it's on a different level. And I think it's a big deal, like you said, for recruiting. And I think Kim recruits well enough that will it change some things? Maybe. But I think it's someone that she can lean on more. And I think this is a big deal. We talk about she's doing exactly what Tyrann Mathieu' goal is to come back and be a coach at LSU. So I'm glad that she's back. Let's see how it fares. Let me ask you this question. It's crazy that the superstars that we grew up watching, they're coming back and being coaches. It's kind of a little bit crazy.
Yeah, and that could happen in some other sports. And Anthony makes a good point here. You used an expletive, so I don't know if you could put it on the screen. But
yeah, I'm not going to do that
but Michaela is very similar to Simone Augustus, right? They're very similar players. I don't know if Michaela Williams is going to be that good, but she does have the profile to be that good. She does have the recruiting chops to be that good, and her game is very similar to that of Augustus. So that's a good point.
Well, and Kim Mulkey just came out with a statement. I'm just going to read the last paragraph. She says, competing against Simone and watching her play professionally and internationally, I always was impressed with her leadership and basketball IQ. So it goes to the point about Kim leaning on her about some things that she sees. She also says those are the intangibles that I'm most excited about for the program. She has experience at the highest level of success. So, I mean, it just goes to the point like what Kim ultimately thinks. Anthony, I don't care about your language. I can't clip it. I'm not going to put it up because,
right.
I got to clip it. So I think it's a really big deal. All right. Carter Bryant joining us. Let's get to what people are actually here for. Dakorien Moore decommitted on Thursday, Friday. I forget the day. I'm going to, like I always do, leave it open-ended. What are your thoughts on Dakorien Moore, the wide receiver from Duncanville, decommitting from LSU?
Yeah, he's very good. There's just no other way around it. Sometimes the recruiting ranking doesn't match up to the player. If you actually go back and watch Corey Foreman or a lot of other Elite 5-stars, sometimes it's just not there when you just sit and watch him. Dakorien Moore is very good. He is just a very good football player. With that said, it's definitely not the end of the world for LSU at wide receiver, because any wide receiver they have lost, it's not been the end of the world, because LSU's never had an issue at wide receiver. Now, you can make a case that, or at least in the modern era, they've not had any issues at wide receiver, especially with Cortez Hankton, along with Hartline at Ohio State being the best wide receiver coaches. If you look at NFL Capital or just college stats or whatever, Blitnikoff, whatever. Blake, it's one of those things where you do worry about it, because he is tight with Bryce Underwood. He is a special playmaker with the football in his hands. And when Kyron Lacey gets drafted next year, you are still going to need to go find an alpha. But every year we have wondered about who the next alpha would be. That it just kind of forms.
I mean, hell, we worried about it this year to some extent. I mean, we worried about it in 22. What's going to be with, Keyshawn Booty coming off of an injury, and Malik Neighbors, the guy that even though your boy was out here saying it, I never had to worry about that position group ever.
Right.
Even in 22. I mean, I get what you're saying with that, but continue.
Yeah. So if it is a 5-star at pretty much any other position outside of maybe wide receiver and running back, because LSU already has 2 RBs for 2025, it's really not as big of a loss if it was Bryce Underwood. That won't happen. I don't think it will. Or an offensive lineman, which is a lot harder to go find.
Or D lineman.
Or D lineman. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That would have been bigger. So that context is very, very, very important. And once again, I'm not belittling the loss of Decorin Moore, but if he wants to go somewhere else, and let's just say another school offers him just a generational bag, then if that is the case, or if it's something else, I don't know what the case would be. All the power to you. You know, go where you are happy. I do not want any college football player, in particular the sport of football, I don't want any football player to be in my locker room and them not be happy with their current situation, because that is what will fracture a locker room before you ever even get going. With that said, over the weekend, LSU had a wide receiver having lunch with Jay-Z and Tom Brady. LSU has wide receivers that have dances on Fortnite. LSU has wide receivers that are spokesmen for sleep mattresses. Just the brand of LSU and what they have done at wide receiver catapults you into a different stratosphere. Well, when it comes to celebrity, when it comes to success. Dorian Moore, his idol is Odell Beckham Jr. So why don't you want to go to school where Odell Beckham Jr. played? A lot of that culture is still around LSU. So I understand that comes off as Blake being Homer and him wanting to play for LSU. No, Ohio State is a great school to go be a wide receiver. Oregon makes some sense. Texas makes a lot of sense because of proximity. I understand that. But if you want to be a big-time wide receiver, LSU is the place to be. And there's no debating that otherwise.
I'm going to be very careful with my words here. I do think that his camp is looking at right now versus the long term.
Yes.
Okay. Doesn't stop the fact, though, that those schools are doing what they need to do to flip a guy like him. Okay. And here's the overarching thing that I think that people, and Carter, I know people are tired of us having these conversations. The price tags aren't going down.
No.
So you can be in the market for buying players or not buying players. It's not going down. And it won't go down. Carter, it's only going to get higher. I think Oregon has done a very good job at making Duncanville connections by some of the hiring processes that they've done, which is throwing people for a loop. And why people aren't reporting this is ridiculous. Okay, but you can be mad at, we shouldn't give a player this. But Carter, did you see the Chad Simmons, the Jakeem Stewart report? Did you see that?
What did it say?
That teams are already offering him 7 figures to come to their school.
Well, then
what do you mean you're not going to buy players? That's the going rate for a guy like him.
Right.
Why would he give you a hometown discount? By the way, just throwing this out there. Okay. It's over a 3 and 4 year process. It's not just like a 1 year deal. By the way, just letting people know, Ross Dellinger reported last week or 2 weeks ago that the 85 scholarship players are going to be making around $250,000 with TV revenue share. So, I mean, he's getting, so you're matching what he's getting in TV revenue share over a 3-4 year span. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, Carter, we're in a place where either, we shouldn't pay this guy. Okay, well then don't. But do you want to, you're not in a Dabo type situation, but you're leaning more towards a Dabo type situation than you are not. Yeah.
And look,
and I'm not saying that's, hold on one second. Brian Kelly's not doing that. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is to the fans that continue to say, Blake, we shouldn't do this. Well, you better get to a place very quickly, Carter, where you're seeing how the sausage has always been made. We talked about like JoJo Earl, which is ironic because Malik Neighbors was the take when JoJo Earl bounced. The problem is JoJo Earl had a charger that he was in the day that he committed. Do you think that cash didn't come along with that?
Yeah.
You're seeing how the sausage is being made. What are you talking about?
You're right. And one more thing, Blake. And this will cause a tizzy. All right, and I get it. The recruiting services have gotten better at rating kids, and you look at how badly they would miss on some 5-star receivers. The last couple of years, they've gotten it pretty right on the money. Like
outside of quarterback, they have.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying overall, when it comes to wide receiver evaluation, the 5-star receivers oftentimes turn out to be absolute superstar.
I mean, Brian Thomas was a top 40 prospect.
Yeah.
I mean, he went in the top 25.
So really, like Decorin Moore is going to be a really good college football player.
I agree. And look, that's how I led off the show. I think he's going to be really good. But I was talking more about like the Jakeem Stewart thing.
Yeah.
If what Chad Simmons is reporting is true, which I believe that it is, okay, then what are you supposed to do? And here's the crazy thing. So we talked about this last week, you and I, about the collective. It's funny how we came out here and said, me and yours conversation from last Monday, me and you both came out here and said, well, you know what? You need to start getting fans involved. And then you had people in our media corps saying, oh, they're trying to get lower end donors. No shit, they're trying to get lower end donors. No shit. Because that's what everybody else is doing. You know who's doing it? You want me to tell you the teams are doing? Georgia, Texas, Florida, Florida State, Ohio State, Oregon.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yes, this is the game that you play now. I'm sorry that you have to play it. It's the game that you play now. Don't give. I don't care if you do or don't, but it's the game that you're playing. So, like, if what Jakeem Stewart is being offered, and here's another note, he's not offering himself that money.
No.
So what do? Do you tell the kid to walk at the biggest position of need?
Yeah, that's one where even if you don't think Thanos is his nickname, by the way,
right?
Even if you don't think he is worth the Infinity Stones, even if you don't think he can snap his fingers and turn the fortune of the defensive line around at LSU, that might just be one you can't just get behind on for a lot of different reasons, right? Like, he's in your own backyard. He very well could be the next Ndamukong Suh. I've not really watched him, Blake, because we're still so far away.
Well,
but
he's talking about reclassifying.
That's the thing. If you reclassify, you don't want to be behind the 8 ball here. And optics would look pretty good if you're able to fend off the other bidders and able to get the in-state guy that will more than likely, based on his recruiting capital, have a year 1 grade for me. So we'll see what happens.
Do you how do I want to ask this? Do you have a problem with paying a kid that much?
Not him. No. And once again, I've not watched him, but that might be one where you just kind of have to do it just for the sake of I know it sounds stupid. You got to pay a kid that's 17 years old.
So are we coming full circle here? Are we coming full circle of we don't buy players? The next day, Chad Simmons comes out with this, and now you're going to get in another bidding war. I feel like we're coming full circle.
Right. I'll say this. I've not really sat down and watched him yet to give you my personal opinion on if I would give any high school defensive lineman a 7-figure deal. But you might just have to if it makes sense, right? We know Dominic Williams doesn't have the upside of an all SEC level player because we have enough samples seeing what he did at TCU. He was a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
But Jakeem Stewart has the upside of being the first defensive lineman taken in the draft 4 years from now, being a 5-star recruit. Now, look, a lot of number 1 overall defensive linemen that were 5 stars have flopped. A lot of them have. I mentioned Corey Foreman a minute ago. You go all the way back to Ronald Powell.
I don't think he's him. I think the kid's better than any of them.
I would like to think so as well, just based on
I mean, the stuff that I watch, I think he. People say he's a DT. I don't.
So what do you think?
I think you know what I think. Do whatever you want. I think he's. You know what I really think he is. I honestly believe he might be Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh, Blake.
Mm-hmm. I think he's that. I really do think he's that type of player. Would you pay Jadeveon Clowney $1 million over 3 years?
Yes, I would pay Jadeveon Clowney $2 million every year because his high school tape is the most absurd high school tape that has ever existed. I have it over Reggie Bush. I have it over Tavon Austin. I have his high school tape.
His high school tape isn't like that, but he also didn't play against all white private school players either.
That's true.
But, he's playing at St. Aug. Going to go against those dudes against Carr, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, Clowney should have been a Heisman finalist in 2012. But
remember when LSU just absolutely raked him, ran the ball right at his ass?
With the left tackle on 3 days' notice, Josh Jurasik.
Yeah,
and Josh is. I wouldn't say we're close friends, but we lived next to each other in WC. I'll always tell that story. I was on the field for that game, and I was fearing for Josh's life.
Safety.
Yeah, I was like, man, dude, you've never started at OT
and dominated him. Dominated him.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. He had no he had 2 pass deflections and a few gang tackles, but didn't have a sack, didn't wreck the game like he, same thing happened with Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
there's a few things about that game, Blake, that was crazy. So that was also the Jeremy Hill breakout game. That was the game where it was okay, Jeremy Hill is really that dude. And then there was also a play. There was only one play where Jurasik just flopped and he didn't run his assignment. So this is one of the most athletic plays. You can go pull it up. I wrote for a site for SB Nation and the Valley Shook. I wrote a piece on this. And there was a play where he just missed, just whiffed him. I actually didn't whiff him. He just let him go. He had a brain fart. And Clowney was about to destroy Mettenberger from his blind side. And at the last second, Lyle Collins dove.
I remember that.
Got a piece of him. And I was like, okay, Lyle Collins might be the best LSU offensive lineman I've ever seen him in person. He is that was just one of the most athletic plays you'll ever see. But yeah, that was such a great game. But back to Thanos. Now, if you really think he is in the breath of college Clowney, he's been a good pro, but college Clowney was
I think he's got that type of upside. Yes.
Well, then you should definitely pay.
He can play all 5 positions and not miss a beat. I think he could play. If you needed him to play nose guard, he could do it. I think if you need to play one, I don't know if he could be a 1 technique. I think there's a lot of difference between being a nose and a 1 because of how you're shaded. I think he could be outside. I think he can do. He's got 3 pass rush moves that no high school guy should have at that young. Okay, I think he can bull rush. You can dip and rip, and he's athletic enough to run down a quarterback. Yes, okay. I do think he's that good. So back to the original point, we got to get over this. We're not in the market of buying, we just got to get, I'm not saying that we're not because we 1000% are in the market. Okay. But I just want to, get that understood. What are you working on? Last question. What are you working on right now, Darren? We're in May. August is almost here. What are you working on right now and some things that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so I'm working on my final grades of all the high school prospects. And I've already done the early enrollees. So I'm just digging through as much high school film background information. I give a grade. I don't know why I do it. It's just kind of out of curiosity. Mm-hmm. But I keep going back to Kanan Durham and Deshaun McBride, spoiler alert, are the 2 best players for me that LSU brought in this last crop. So that's what I'm personally doing. But outside of that, Blake, and just enjoying a little bit of a,
downtime,
the lull before media days is here and all of that. But honestly, I'm feeling better about this team for a wide variety of reasons. That could just be the fan side of me coming out, but I'm becoming a little bit more bullish on a good season for LSU coming up. But you keep going back.
Why?
Well, I think when you have an offensive line as good as theirs, the good thing about an elite offensive line, Blake, is none of those guys ever leave the field. They are on the field for the maximum amount of snaps. They are involved in almost every single play that you do. And that just moves the needle a lot for me because there are so many teams that have really bad weak links on their offensive line. And if DJ Chester is even a decent center, which I think he will be, we'll see. This offensive line will carry LSU to a few games or a game where they shouldn't win it, but they win because that group is that good and they could keep Nuss that clean back there. And if you have a transcendent group, which I really do believe this offensive line can be the best we have ever seen at LSU. And there's a lot of good ones. 07 group was great. 11 group was great. 19 group was great. There's a lot of really good ones you can point to. 14 group or the 15 group, excuse me, was really, really, really good. I think they can do some things like you and I have been debating the running game.
Yeah, I mean, there was a big debate someone tried to get into with you on social media too.
Yeah, I'm used to it by now, but I'm not saying that run the football isn't important. I'm just score the best way you could score no matter what.
No, I agree. So here's what I think is getting missed. I don't disagree with you. What I'm just saying is run the ball a little bit more. Like dial down the clock a little bit. Play a little bit of ball control. That's all I'm saying. A little bit of ball control. I don't care if you throw a 50-yard bomb to Chris Hilton. Carter, I want you to do that. What I'm just saying is, can we run the ball twice and see what happens before we do that? Like, can we run the ball for 7-8 yards and then on second and short, then you throw it instead of just – I mean, Carter, think about it like this. Against Ole Miss, Jayden Daniels threw 21 straight passes and went 20 of 21. The only one that he didn't complete was the drop by Caleb Jackson.
Right.
Run the ball. Run the ball.
But why would you run it if you're scoring that many?
Because you got to play ball control. You cannot keep. Like, let me give an example. Okay. If you do hold on the ball, remember when Ryan Yates batted that pass down?
Yeah.
The longest drive that LSU's offense had was the series before he did that and stopped them on fourth down. Why is that?
I don't know. You tell me.
Because I think coaches get a little bit into their heads a little too much, and when you give a position group a little time to rest, you can make plays. You can be on one, and it gives you more time to go through everything. The most misinterpreted, most missed thing in all of college sports is when guys are on the sidelines and Blake Baker can run through every scenario that they just saw. Okay, and go through what they just saw, right? Like, I don't think that Matt House got the benefit of the doubt of being able to run through everything with his guys. It was just go back out there and keep going. Well, we got to run what we got to run, because if we don't, I mean, then they're definitely going to blow the coverage. So I'm not saying to not score at will. What I'm saying is when you come, can you be 22 better throwing the football but run the ball and kill the clock like you did in 22? Like, there were times where you imposed your will. And I do think, I'm just going to be honest, I think it's how you beat Bama in 22.
Yeah, I just don't know if I want to change anything from the Ole Miss game. They scored 49 points, right?
But Carter, you're not going to be that, though. You're not going to be that offense. And I do think you got to control the clock. And you know what else? You know what else happens when you lean on teams and you dominate them up front offensively? They start getting more tired. And you lean on them. Here's the best analogy I've ever heard from an offensive line coach in the SEC. One of my best friends. He's an SEC. He's a offensive line coach in the SEC right now. He said, Blake, when we run the football early in games, even if it's 3 and 4 yards, it's like body blows. By the 7th, 8th, 9th round. Well, it's kind of funny because that's how Tyson Fury got his ass beat. But it's body shots. You're hitting them with body shots. and you got to be able to control the clock. Carter, I don't know. We're just never going to agree on this.
No, I do think there is some value in that. I just believe if your best form of scoring and you're scoring every single time and it's only 3 play drives and you're only running like 8 seconds off the clock, then that should be what you do. Now, there is major value in controlling the clock and bleeding every last second off the play clock if you are a heavy underdog playing against a team that is better than you. But LSU is not going to be in that situation at all next year. So, but it's whatever. It's a lot, and like you said, a lot of it is based on.
You got to do it against Ole Miss this year.
I don't know. I think you could just it's like if
you cannot line up and in the past, because Carter, here's the problem. Jaden Daniels is scrambling, won you a shitload of games.
Oh, I'm not
okay. So, and I don't mean this. Nuss is not as good as Jaden was last year. He's not good as Jaden is right now.
Nobody is. I don't know if anybody will ever.
Okay, very good point. All I'm saying is, why would you not lean on your biggest group by controlling the clock and dominating dudes up front?
I would look. I do agree with this. They do need to run the football better. The run game last year was not good towards the end of the season.
And I got to be honest, I don't agree with that. I vehemently don't agree. Can I tell you why?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because when you throw the ball 18 out of 20 plays and you get 4 yards on one carry and 3 yards on another, it's not that you're not having success. Carter, if I have 3 yards in the running game every play, we're cooking with grease. I'm telling you, because I'm going to lean on him. You cannot expect me in 20 plays. Oh, you gave me 2, and that's basically what I'm being judged off of.
Okay, so you're saying the run game, as far as handing the football off to the running backs, wasn't good because you didn't get a large enough sample.
We did, and that we didn't. Because think about Bama. The Bama game. We're going a little long, and this is gonna be the last part I make.
No, go ahead.
Think about the Bama game. Okay, last year, Carter, wasn't the stat like 32 straight dropbacks? And
for Jaden,
yeah, for Jaden. And so think about it like this. Okay, so the running play that they have to Josh Williams coming out of half, okay, literally is a 4-yard run. So that gets brought into, they're not running the football effectively enough with the running backs. What are we talking about?
Yeah, so I think so. I do agree with you that it is a little bit skewed because the best play call that Denbrock could make was just any Jaden drop back, because if nothing was open, right? Yeah,
my man's gone.
Yeah,
so
it got to that point. Yeah, no. I do agree with you, but it still wasn't good. Like statistically, it was not good.
I don't care about the statistics when 18 of my 20 plays are dropbacks. I'm sorry. I really don't.
I'll go back and look. I'll go back and rewind.
Please do. I'm just going based off of PFF. I don't know that. Going off of PFF's stat.
No. I use PFF as well. It's just when the ball was handed to the running back, it was not an effective play for LSU towards the end of the year. But I do agree there wasn't a large enough sample to say if it.
Look at Logan Diggs had how many games over 100?
That's what I'm saying. Like he didn't have any towards. Well, no running back had any.
Well, he was hurt, but yeah,
he was hurt, and like Denbrock would tell you is. It was a waste of a play call when Jaden was outrunning everyone the way that he was to not just have him drop back every single time. Now, Marvelous says, as a good point, way too much inside zone. LSU is a very heavy inside zone.
They ain't going to be like that this year.
Yeah, I think you'll see.
They're going to get Will Campbell out in space. Who's going to have a big year in the running game? Mason Taylor.
And look, he was the number one to use PFF's numbers. He was the number 1 blocking tight end in the SEC.
Yeah, he
Run
better.
block.
He's going to have a big year because they're going to pull both guard and tackle, and he's going to have to be an anchor.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go. I see you, man.
My
Early
man,
AYS.
Thank you for being very flexible during T-ball season.
Oh, so we're not rained out tonight?
Nope.
Let's go, Big Ben, man. Knock it out
Did
the park.
did you see that line drive? What should have been double?
Yeah, he just didn't turn the corner. You got too excited.
Well,
I
you
get
can't.
it.
They don't let you. They frown upon you sending a runner to second. You got to stop it first.
What?
But
No.
let me tell you this quick before we leave. The other night, about a week ago, okay, this other coach was sending players in T-ball. Ben comes up, line drive right back up the middle, bases loaded. Daddy was coaching third base. Runners were being sent. I was doing the whole Jay Johnson. Let's go. Backpedaling, pull the hamstring.
Send it.
Send him.
I need a film of you. And you're thinner, Blake, now. So
Yeah,
it would look more like it looked more like Patrick Peterson with Chad Jones at Mississippi State.
They got nothing on me. All right.
Nothing. All right, buddy. Cheers.
Cheers. Carter, the Power Bryant, my man. All right. We got to get out of here. We will see y'all tomorrow. Hope LSU beats Georgia. Until then, y'all have a good one, man. We'll see y'all soon. Peace.